The panoramic view from Sighthill Park near Springburn in Glasgow takes in the cathedral, Townhead Spire, Glasgow University, Ben Lomond and finally the high flats of the Sighthill estate. Originally known as the Broom Hill and the former site of St Rollock's, a 19th century chemical works, the hillside is now home to the first astronomically aligned megalith to be constructed in Britain for the last 3,000 years.
I'm Duncan Loonan. I'm a science writer by profession. My specialist field has always been astronomy and space. In 1978, I was approached by a great friend of mine, the late Professor R.G. Roy, Dr. Roy as he then was, who was an expert in ancient astronomy. And he had been asked if he would head up a Glasgow Parks astronomy project to create an astronomical monument according to the ancient principles. And he had neither the time nor the inclination, but he said, I know somebody who might be crazy enough, and he asked me to take it.
The alignment of the stones are based on Le Grand Menhir Brice, a noted megalith in Carnac, Brittany, albeit scaled down from a spacing of 40 miles across to just 40 feet. The first 17 stones were airlifted onto the hill by Navy Sea King helicopter and cemented in place in 1979.
The whole thing was done in 40 minutes. They gave the local schools the morning off. We were surrounded down at the bottom of the hill by cheering children, and it was a most extraordinary day to be doing this with the highest technology available, which of course was how the ancient builders would have done it.
At the summer and winter equinoxes, the shadows cast by the arrangements of the outer stones onto the central stone accurately show the rising and falling of both the sun and moon.
The other stones, marking two positions for the star Rigel at the foot of Orion. One is where it rose in 1800 BC, which is to tell future archaeologists where we took our inspiration from. So we are thinking long term here, whereas one of the assumptions when we were planning it was that civilization may fall and rise again, and that people will be trying to figure out where in ancient history, as it will be by then, where in ancient history this belongs.
Sadly, the project was left incomplete due to Margaret Thatcher's government cutting the funding later that year, leaving the site derelict until the landscaping of the hill into a park in 1982.
We were denounced in the House of Commons. It's not clear whether it was Margaret Thatcher or Sir Keith Joseph who actually spoke the words, but the words were, there will be no more nonsense like the Glasgow Parks astronomy project. The problem that has emerged is that we are standing within what will be the Olympic Village if the Glasgow's bid to host the 2018 Youth Olympics is successful.
The Friends of Sighthill Stone Circle was formed in 2011 to combat the threat of development and has received a large amount of support from politicians, artists such as Alistair Gray and Sighthill locals, all of whom have a marked attachment to the stones.
The case we are now fighting is to have this mound restored and the stones put back afterwards, or retained in place by some means while they do it. Because otherwise we will simply lose the first stone circle of its kind for over 3,000 years. We now have over 3,300 signatures in the online petition and another 600 people on Facebook, many of whom are saying, we do come here, we do use the circle, for all kinds of different reasons. The central stone behind me is used by a family called Forbes to commemorate their mother, whose ashes were scattered here because it was one of her favourite spots. But people in the Druid and pagan communities come here for their ceremonies at the appropriate times of the year. People come here for meditation and just because they like the spot. The big thing is really to make the case for keeping it here, if necessary restoring the hilltop after the clean-up below, because otherwise there's an awful tendency just to say it would be so much quicker and easier just to wipe the whole area and start with a clean slate on the Olympic development. You know, this thing is unique, it should not be destroyed, even if this does become the Olympic Village, it should be part of it rather than being removed.